The first topic that we're going to cover today is the Cavs versus the Warriors, Game 1. Now, we both know that the Cavs suffered an ill defeat. What was the ending score, guys? What was the ending score?
124.
They lost.
And the first question at hand on here, you have 2 minutes apiece.
124, brother.
114, 124. The first question for y'all, 2 minutes apiece, I'm going to be timing you, going to keep it moving, is who won? Who defeated the Cavs? Was it J.R. Smith? Was it the Warriors? Or did the refs defeat the Cavs? Or a combination? So we're going to go from left to right. We got Mr. Bennett up on my top left-hand screen. Let's get it.
This is a very simple one for me. There's two teams on the court. One team won, one team did not. Now, regardless of how you cut it, how terrible that the officiating was, I never want to put anything on the officials, okay? Regardless of how ridiculous those antics were by J.R. Smith, there was still another period to be played. The game did not lose, so he did not defeat the Cavs. He definitely did what he could to not help them win. But what I will say is, while the Warriors did defeat the Cavs, this is just a microcosm of what the series and what the season has been. Okay, the Cavs simply aren't good enough. LeBron's good enough. The Cavs are not. I don't know if any of those players, the home team, even at a bench level, maybe he'll. Love just got no D. You know what I mean? The team is suspect. But what it comes down to is it's not even that last play. You had an 80% free throw shooter, completely missed, brick. Then you've got J.R. Smith at the end of the first half, faux defense. faux, what do you do? Even if you make the steal and knock it out, then what?
All right. Faux defense.
So it's a whole – if it's J.R. Smith, it's J.R. Smith from beginning to end. It's not just that last play.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? If it's the refs beginning to end. It's not just those last two calls. Because at the end of the day, the game wasn't over. None of those mistakes up until then really defeated the Cavs. It wasn't until overtime where they got fully exposed. But what do you expect? I mean, you know.
So you're saying the Warriors beat the Cavs then because they're not good enough.
I'm saying the Warriors beat the Cavs, correct.
Because the Cavs just simply aren't good enough.
Because the Cavs simply just aren't good enough. Not.
Can I object?
You can object.
Not for 53 minutes. They were good enough for 48. They weren't good enough for 53.
Thank you, sir. And that was his 2 minutes. So may actually get my lights shut off automatically for me. Got to work on that next time. So let's go next, Alex. Your 2 minutes.
Yo,
you gotta stick to your 2 minutes, sir.
Can we call the spade, please? Yo, I semi respectfully agree, but disagree with what my man, Mr. Bennett was saying.
Respectfully,
the matter is, J.R. Smith lost the damn game. He's a bum. All he had to do was throw the ball to LeBron. Game over. He thought it was, you know how you play with the playground and take the ball back after you hit the rim. He lost the damn game. It is what it is. Golden State, nobody on Golden State except maybe KD is better than LeBron.
No.
All J.R. Smith had to do, if you look at the instant replay, the king was wide the F open. Wide open for a three. Game over. We Cavs win. End the discussion.
And Alex, you're not a Cavs fan, but that you're.
Hell no.
Hey, dude, let me go, dude.
But you're passionate about. Okay, so we're gonna. I want to make sure you have 30 more seconds. Are you good?
I'm good. Next.
Round's good.
All right.
But no, J.R. Smith takes the damn ball back. Go ahead, Big, whoever or Scott, whoever next.
Go ahead, Big.
Listen. It's simple, man. I hear what Don Ray saying. I hear what Al is saying. But when it all comes down to it, the King had 51 in Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
No way in goddamn hell are they supposed to lose that game.
Amen.
And the reason they lost the game is not because just the refs. It's not because just JR did that bonehead, think he about to get time and a half going to overtime. Not because of that. It's because situational awareness. LeBron makes and one, boom, boom, and one, right? They go up 2. Kevin Love, who has a 16-inch vertical, decides to play Dikembe Mutombo in the paint against Steph Curry, who never misses those little scoop layups. Hit the man in the face.
Yep.
Let the little light bright get the layup, bro. Yeah. You let him get the layup, the game's tied. George Hill comes down, boom, hits one free throw. They're up 1. We don't know what happens when the Warriors get the ball back. Oh no, they don't get the ball back because Kevin Durant didn't box out J.R. Smith. Game's over. Kevin Love's foul changed that game. Now, the person who's at fault for the biggest loss at the end, the 10-point loss in overtime, what coach in NBA sits over there and talks with his players?
Yeah.
So what coach in the league sulks with his players before going into overtime against the best team ever assembled?
So Tyronn, are you arguing Tyronn Lue losing the game?
Kevin Love, Ty Lue. J.R. Smith grabbed the rebound. Who knows if he makes that shot? Who knows if he kicks it out to Bron? Bron makes that shot. Those are what ifs.
So if you're saying Ty Lue, if you're including him, is that the Cavs lost the game then because the coach?
The Cavs lost the game because Kevin Love's stupid foul and because Ty Lue didn't do anything going into overtime. He just let them dudes go out there with that. After that JR joint, you got to bring that team together and rally them back up and lead them. You can't, all right, guys, go out there and do what you do. Like, it's the Warriors.
Wow. Thanks, B. We appreciate it. So we have a what do you call it? Don Ray thinks it's JR. Alex clearly thinks that Cavs.
No. I think it's the Warriors.
I'm sorry. Alex thinks it's the JR. Don Ray thinks the Warriors just beat them. Reezy's saying the Cavs beat themselves. And now, not Reezy, but B-Web. And now, Scott, where are you at with it? We got 2 minutes on the clock, brother.
Okay, so we've got a lot to process here. One, vast majority of what you all have said is true. The whole best team ever assembled piece, we'll need to talk about that in a later segment.
Yes, Scott.
Is that because you're a Bulls fan, or was that anything?
We'll talk about that in a later segment. So let's talk about fact. What is fact? J.R. Smith got an offensive rebound with 4.7 seconds remaining in the game off of a missed free throw and was literally 3 feet away from the rim. Shoot the damn shot.
Amen.
The guy – so that's fact number one. Fact number two, which everyone is forgetting, is George Hill was sitting on the free throw line with a chance to win the game and he missed a free throw. So that's number two, okay? Number three, the Golden State Warriors were doing everything they possibly could in the fourth quarter to literally give the game to the Cavaliers. Now, what's interesting is the next fact, and I've lost count of my different facts here, is the refs at the same time were also trying to counterbalance that by giving it back to the Cavs. But as Don Ray said, that's a collective 48 minutes. There's swings there. But those first three things are all huge, and that's what's really important, is that you've got J.R. Smith who got an offensive rebound. I don't care about passing it to LeBron and everything else. He was right there. Point blank, put back, rebound, you make it, everyone's good. He didn't do that because he lost his mind. That's huge. Number two, again, George Hill missed a free throw. All right? What B-Web said about the foul on Kevin Love, 100% correct. Situational awareness. Now, I'm going to shock everybody, and I'm going to say this. At the end of the day, it is a collective. It's the Cavs' fault. But I'm also put it on LeBron. 51 points, yes. But at the end of the game, where was he? He's sitting on the perimeter. The ball's in George Hill's hand. He's the one on the free throw line. I want that in the King's hand. When you want to be the GOAT, you got to be the man who's taking care of the action at the end of the game. But hold on, my last piece, again, it's a collective. The Cavs lost the game.
Can I counter?
Yeah, feel free. Scott's at his 2 minutes. Jump in. 1 minute free for all.
Time out. First of all, before I get into anything, let me just say this. Mr. MJ Supporter 2.0.
Hey, you're the one with MJ gear on today.
Last time I checked, when Kerr hit that shot, it was an amazing look. Oh, my God. What an amazing look that Steve Kerr hit that. Stop it.
He had the ball, though. He had the ball. He gave it to him.
John Paxson against the Cavs. Oh, what an amazing look. He's such a great. And now LeBron finds a cutting hill wide open for a layup, and the only way to stop him is to tackle him. And 80% free throw shooter, and you're telling me stop.
Okay, B. I think B has something to Alex, and we're going to move on to the next thing. Clearly, we all have difference of opinion on who won and who lost the game, or if it was.
Now, Scott, you know I love you, bro. But that little sly LeBron hate right there.
Did you catch that? I caught that. Carly caught it as well.
Here's the facts. Replay the play. They have LeBron at the top of the key, right? If you look at it, Draymond should have got a defensive 3 seconds call.
Yep.
Because he's standing at the free throw line right behind LeBron's defender. No way LeBron drives that ball or does anything with it. What does he do? Find the open player who gets tackled. Like he made the best play possible in that situation. Unless he jacks the three and misses the three-pointer, and then they just lose anyway. So, yeah, that's where we at.
Facts.
So, real quick.
Alex, real quick.
I agree with I love the points. J.R. Smith, like I said, cost the game because all he had to do after the bum missed the damn free throw, after all that, all the damn dude had to do was no such. Like I agree with you, Scott. Situational basketball. If you too garbage to make a damn layup yourself, get the ball to the damn king and let him do what he does. Bottom line.
But can I say,
all right.
My final piece is this. When you say those are the reasons that they lost, you're assuming that hasn't been the case all year long. So you're hoping that J.R. Smith is going to make a cerebral play. Since when has he ever done that? So should he made it? Yes, but it's not surprising. So if you're going with the percentages, that's what's supposed to happen. Even if he shoots it, it's supposed to get blocked or he's supposed to miss it because that's just how garbage they've been all year. Ty Lue hasn't coached anything all year. He was out coached by Toronto. He was out coached by Indiana. He just happens to have LeBron James on his team. So I agree with everything everyone said, but because it's not out of the norm, that can't be the reason. You know what I mean? The norm is Ty Lue doesn't coach, doesn't make adjustments. The norm is JR is garbage and has never been a cerebral player. The norm isn't that George Hill's going to miss a free throw that poorly, but that's the reason why we could even get an offensive rebound. The reason why they had so many offensive rebounds is because they were missing shots so poorly that they couldn't be rebounded by a good box out. If you look at the offensive rebounding that the Cavs had, they out-rebounded them crazily. Even that one, it was so short that you can't even get the rebound. You only get offensive rebounds when there's good box out if it's a terrible miss. And speaking of so off that they got it off, it's crazy.
Speaking of rebounds, rebounding, it seems as if they have the edge. There was a story about Tristan Thompson not being suspended. So going into game 2 on Sunday, everyone's going to be full force. But the question is for you guys, how do you defeat the Warriors? And this doesn't have to be focused on the Cavs. What would it take?
Can I go first?
I went last. I'd like to go first this time. All right.
Okay, we can go Scott and then B, and we're gonna have 2 minutes apiece. What do you need from like a coaches or like a players or like just a basketball analyst point of view to beat these guys? So you can go first, Scott.
All right. So the first one, and actually Cleveland did a fairly decent job of this in game 1, and that's just defending them on the line. And, and that's something that we've seen the last couple of games, whether it's with Golden State, whether it's with the Celtics, and then going back to the last game of Game 7 with Houston, is get a hand up, close out. You see some really awful shooting because, unfortunately, the NBA has transitioned to just an exclusively perimeter game. So just let the guys shoot and contend. And the Cavaliers are doing a pretty good job of that. Golden State was not shooting very well from behind the arc. But number 2, and at the end of the day, this has really got to be the focus, is you've got to defend all over the court, and you have to be physical. That's something that Houston did with a lot of success. And in some respects, they made it Detroit Pistons, New York Knicks style, holding, hanging on to guys, doing as much as you can to disrupt the ball screen action, disrupting some of those down screens, some of the split screens that Golden State likes to run on the weak side. That's what you got to do is to disrupt their timing. And if you do that and then take care of the ball and have some sense of common sense on the offensive end, you're going to put yourself in a position to win, which is what Houston did and Cleveland did as well. But it ultimately starts with defense. You got to disrupt their timing. You got to get up. You got to bump them. You got to push them. And Cleveland did that with some success. Let's see if they're able to bounce back game 2 and do it again.
All right, B.
Listen, I totally agree with you, Scott. You got to run them off the line. That's number one. Two, you got to score. Go back to that Houston series, and you look at those 27 missed threes in a row. That coach should be fired.
Yep.
Unequivocally.
Said he wanted to put up 57.
If you think about those 27 threes, what was the one constant that kept James Harden getting on the board scoring-wise? Going to the cup.
Go to the rack.
Yep.
They don't have a shot blocker. They don't have a rim protector.
Nope.
This is the year that they don't have it. LeBron went ham in first, second, third quarter. Ham. Going to the cup. What did they do? JaVale McGee.
Yep.
JaVale McGee is their answer. They don't have an answer for going to the rack. You can be physical all day long with them. That's the problem. Like, I don't understand why Ty Lue didn't just say, you know what, everything to the rack. We're trying to run Korver off screens to get him shots. I don't give a damn about no damn Kyle Korver. I don't care about J.R. Smith, LeBron, the king, to the cup. Jeff Green.
So B, they're soft in the middle.
Thank you, Johnny.
Super soft. To the rack.
Draymond Green. What about Draymond?
To the rack. He's not, but to the rack.
Okay, got you. To the rack.
He's not doing nothing but fouling, bro. To the rack.
Let's go, Alex.
That's how you do.
Let's go.
Listen, yo.
We have 10 minutes
Actually,
left.
can I go last? Can I go last, please? Is it okay? Go ahead. Go ahead, D. Reese.
All right. Basically, while I don't disagree with our B and Scott said, the problem with that is no one can do that effectively enough to win. It's the right recipe, but the talent is too hot, is too strong. Here's what you have to do. Simply put, 3 things. First and foremost, you cannot allow what in soccer and hockey they call odd man rushes. There's no reason off of a regular set missed jump shot they should get transitional baskets, like 3-on-2 or 4-on-3 or whatever. And when you look it back, that's laziness. That's, complaining about foul calls or whatever. There's no reason why as soon as a shot is missed, you shouldn't get back on D, stop them, and force them to play half-court ball. Now, can they make half-court shots? Of course. They run real sets. They're a real team, unlike Cleveland. However, you can't allow transitional baskets. That's where their energy comes from. The crowd gets into it. Clay loves pulling up, hitting the, off a quick shot. Same thing with Steph. Transitional D. You got to make sure they play half-court defense, not odd man rushes. 2, it goes along with what B was saying in terms of crashing, but it's hitting open shots. Forget about the contested shots. You miss a contested shot, so be it. How is Jordan Clarkson all of a sudden, he goes 0 for 50 and he's still acting like he got the confidence of Jordan? Great, hit an open shot. You can't just miss these open shots and then pretend to chase to crash the board and then give up a transitional layups. Those things got to stop. So hit your open shots, transitional D. And number 3, regardless of your spiritual complex, you need to pray. You need to pray, and with that, hopefully, you got a shot.
So we're bringing
LeBron did everything. LeBron did everything he needed to do. His team's not good enough. So pray.
So you need to do all those things, and you need Jesus, as my mama would say. Or it's that divine.
They don't need baby Jesus. They need Jesus from Nazareth.
Full grown man.
Jesus.
Okay.
They need last dinner.
I want to officially go on record as saying they can still win this series.
Well, I agree.
All right. So, all right.
Let's just get Alex his 2 minutes.
All right. A wise rapper once said, "These boys swear that they gangster. You'll die gangster." Dog. The point of that is, bottom line is,
wait, I want to know what rapper. Can I know
they
what
not
rapper?
beating the damn Golden State Warriors. That's the damn problem. Unless they was gangsters showing up with guns, and they still gonna lose. Bottom line is, they can't beat them. It is what it is.
It's not.
LeBron cannot beat
Alex. Not just the Cavs. Anybody. What anybody need to do to beat these guys?
No,
Nobody can beat them.
they can't beat them.
Nobody.
No, I mean you can
Not
win
even
a
Scott's
game.
96 Bulls or whatever.
Dog.
Yeah, that's how you beat them.
Dog, listen. My point is this. I think my point is this.
Yo,
They ain't beating them. They not gonna beat them. Yeah, I mean, listen. We all played basketball. I played. Yeah, I mean, the majority of my life, whatever. Dog, I can't beat them either. Dog.
Oh wow! Thanks a lot, Alex.
Unless he can crave a KD and Steph Curry are not beating the Golden State Warriors in this series. Yeah.
Okay, he cut off, man. We on last call. He cut off.
Scott, yeah, I can't mute. I can't mute mics. So no, you're muted, sir. So
yo, hold on a second. Bro just said that he can't beat him, so nobody else can beat him. Everyone process that for a minute.
Alex, we're done. We got to move on. This is our last piece here. Y'all can take. I know we should probably delay this until next week, but I know one of you particularly has been itching for this last one. So the first thing is we all differ in terms of who beat the Cavs. Some of you say, none of you said the refs, which is interesting. It had anything to do with it. Some JR, some was the Warriors beat them, some was the Cavs beat themselves, and then Kevin Love was thrown in there as well as one of the people who is responsible. And then when it comes to beating them, basically we need Jesus and divine intervention. You all are saying, that's pretty interesting to me. But the last thing is, LeBron has a 51-point game, right? I think he's like the 5th or 6th.
And lost.
I know. We know that he lost. Someone doesn't like LeBron in this show. You can tell. I can see it in your eyes. You can't hide it. But that 51-point game, nonetheless, even though they lost, is still historical, right? So
because he lost.
We'll let you go first. It adds to the conversation about who's better, Jordan or LeBron. People are talking about it. It's not anything people want to do. LeBron's making a conversation. He's forcing a conversation. So want to go around LeBron or MJ? After.
Can I start this one?
I'm sorry.
Can I please start this one?
Yes, sir. You can. Yeah, because Scott started last time. Let's go.
So, listen. First and foremost, I hate the debate. Right? I don't like it. I think it's a debate of errors. One, they're two different players. They don't play the same position.
Okay.
So to me, like Michael and Kobe, I get LeBron, and you could probably do like a LeBron Magic debate, LeBron Bird debate, but that just goes to show LeBron's diversity, because you can debate about him with a point guard, a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward. But I'm not a huge LeBron fan. Like, I like LeBron James because of what he does on and off the court.
Yeah.
Which Jordan can't even compare to what LeBron does off the court. But we're not going to go there. We're going to stay on the court. You can't lose sight of the fact that before Scottie Pippen got –
oh, man!
Michael Jordan in and out of the playoffs, no finals appearances, no nothing. Oh, we are now in LeBron's 15th season. He just brought the most idiotic group of idiots, the worst coach of all time, to the finals and almost won game one. Michael Jordan wouldn't have sniffed the finals with this Cavs team. I'm sorry. That's a fact. That's a fact. Because Michael Jordan didn't run the point. He didn't run the whole offense through himself. He didn't pass the ball all crazy. He wasn't grabbing them rebounds. Listen, I'm not saying Michael's not the GOAT. I like Mike. I think Mike is the greatest player of all time just because of what he did in that era with the fouls and how you could literally smack a nigga in his face and they may blow the whistle. I get that. Different era. But athleticism-wise, and the teams that Michael faced compared to the teams that LeBron's facing, it's not even close. Like, I'm sorry, you can't tell me a washed up Malone and Stockton was really going to beat the Bulls. You can't tell me that Portland team is going to beat the Bulls. Like, they just weren't. And it was because of coaching. They had one of the best defenders, wing defenders of all time, one of the best rebounders of all time, and one of the best scorers of all time. You're going to win. Same scenario with the Warriors. It's the same concoction. They're going to win. LeBron just so happens to be the best player on one of the worst teams.
So
Hold on, real quick.
Okay.
LA Fitness. You take yourself to LA Fitness, right? You can assemble with the best five in the gym, right? And then the dude that's better than everybody who plays semi-pro and all that comes in and plays with 4 bumps. Yeah, he gonna get his points. But my nigga, we getting to 21 first because we have the better team. That's just facts. All this LeBron Jordan debate, you can't really debate it because he has never had the best team. 9 finals, only favored in 2. I'm done.
So Scott, well, you could either go next or go last because I know this is a very important topic for you. But B is saying there's you can't compare these eras. But if you do compare the eras, B is saying LBG. I mean not LBG, but LBJ is clearly it's like not even a conversation. Is that correct, B?
Yeah, you're correct. It's not a conversation because what LBJ has had to face over the last 10 years is a damn insult to basketball. So let me break it down for you. Now, first up, let me give you some context. I like to hate on LeBron a little bit, but these last 2 years he's gotten my attention. Nothing but love for his game. So let's just step back. Let's just step and again with what he did, in game 1, that's commendable. But he lost. But that's just me hating. So forget that. All right. But let's just look at it, okay? And I appreciate what Coach Frank Martin said on the topic, which I think is really good. And if folks checking this out, definitely pull that up. And B-Web just talked about that a little bit. They're 2 different eras. They're 2 completely different positions. That's all fact. But when it comes to the competition, and this is something, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just trying to be objective about this. I think we have to go all the way back to the 2008 Celtics for LeBron to have faced a team in the Eastern Conference Finals that has a legitimate Hall of Fame player on one of those teams. I say that because when you look back to Jordan's 10 years, other than the Charlotte Hornets and the Cleveland Cavaliers, pretty much and the New Jersey Nets in the late 90s, every team he faced in the Eastern Conference Finals had at least one Hall of Fame player on it, whether it was the Celtics with Bird, whether it was the Pistons, whether it was the Knicks, whether it was the Pacers. There was a gauntlet of Hall of Fame players and solid teams that he had to contend with. So, that's not LeBron's fault, but that's just in saying what Jordan had to face. And that's where I think it's so hard when people raise this thing of, well, he had Pippen. We'll never know. We'll never know. And what we do know as a fact was from 84 to 89, Jordan didn't have all that much either. Orlando Woolrich, George Gervin was on the squad for 2-3 years, and he was done. He didn't have anything, but at the same time, he had to face the Celtics and all that stuff. So he wasn't even in a position to do what LeBron's doing now. And again, that's no one's fault. That's just trying to be objective about what both teams had to face and what both players had at their disposal, whether it was teammates or the competition that they were facing.
Okay. My thing is real quick. Okay. I get the point, but the argument is always rings, right?
I didn't mention rings, though.
No, what I'm saying is not you. For everyone else, the argument is always rings.
Always.
To your point, I understand that, but LeBron's competition in the finals far surpasses Jordan's. And that's where, to me, it gets lost. So I don't want to hear the ring thing.
I think
you got that.
I didn't say nothing about rings.
Okay.
I didn't say you did.
Okay. So let's put those rings folks on notice. Go ahead, Alex. You want to go next, and then we'll let Don Ray go last?
All right, so here's what I'm gonna say about this. A lot of great points was already made. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna rehash them, but a lot of great points was made. I think it comes down for me. We can't control who they play against. You know what I mean? And we can't control. Obviously, they didn't play against each other. Obviously, so they have some things. There are some commonalities in both of their situations. The bottom line for me, when it comes to the fact that we are having a discussion, that's the first. That's also okay. We're having this debate, so we have to try to present the argument. Bottom line is, first of all, let me say LeBron did win a championship with the Heat, but that was lame because he did have the two. He had Dwayne Wade, who's a Hall of Famer, I think, and an elite player. Okay, Jordan had Pippen. Okay, now here's where I'll say it is: if LeBron, the team that LeBron has dragged to the NBA Finals, to me, were I'm talking about the Cavs teams were not Hall of Famers. Okay, he didn't have a Pippen on his team. He didn't have a Love on his. He didn't have a Love on his team before. The fact that this man gets to the finals, this man can get to the finals with me starting, and I ain't played ball in about a year. So the fact of the matter is, if you're on LeBron's team, if LOR,
that's just because of 1 year.
We get to the finals. Okay, if you're on Mike's team, if Pippen ain't on the team with us, we not getting to the damn finals. So bottom line is LBJ for that reason has to be better than Mike, because the fact of the matter is he dragging brothers to the finals, and no matter who they are, he dragging John down the street, he's dragging the trash man, he's dragging me, he's dragging dude, he's dragging us to the damn finals. Because why? He's LeBron.
Because he ain't playing nobody. Because he ain't playing nobody.
I'm done.
LeBron
Playing a bunch of gym class heroes, man.
Thanks, Alex. Don Ray's next. I just want to know who's the trash man on the team. Like, who is the player? Because that's the worst insult.
No, I love how he said, because I haven't played in a year. You got me a couple years ago, it'd be different, but a year, yeah.
And Alex has been playing consistently. All right, Don Ray, it's on you.
I want to start out by commending Coach Blair, because I was fully anticipating the rings, and I was going to decimate that argument because that is a faux argument, as Brian alluded to, but he didn't. He kept it to the facts, and that's part of the reason why. First and foremost, I believe it's not a comparable issue. However, here is the crazy part. I know I'm about to hurt him. I know you're worried about it. I'm about to surprise some folks. I honestly mean this. If you put LeBron on those Jordan teams, I do not believe he wins those. He's not 6-0. I believe he doesn't quit in the middle of his career, but I think he's like a 6-2. He wins 6, but he probably loses 2 of them. I don't think he's beaten both of those Jazz teams, maybe one. I don't think he's beaten that Portland team for different reasons, and that's for another day. So in that aspect, Jordan was better. I think Jordan would have done more with the teams he had. Now, having said that, you put Jordan on all of LeBron's teams, he's not going to 9 straight finals. He may be going to 3 or 4. Now, the Miami teams, yes. All his Cleveland teams, no. And Kyrie is not Kyrie on that team, because he's not letting Kyrie hold the ball 30 seconds to score 40 points in Game 5 and games. That's not happening either. So the reality is, LeBron is not as good as Jordan, but he is better.
That's it.
I don't even – dead serious. LeBron is not winning what Jordan won when Jordan won with what Jordan won, period. No way he's winning with that team against – he'll be starstruck. He's a basketball guru. He'll be starstruck by an old age of Magic. I don't know if they win that one. He'd be outclassed by a Portland team that was a true team, and he'd be simply outplayed by a Utah team. And so those would be a lot more competitive, and I think he'd probably lose 1, 2, or 3 of those series. Now, he would make it to more, and he would have stayed longer, and he would have won some other ones, but he would have won 6, but he still would have lost 2 or 3. But Jordan, vice versa, isn't even going to the finals with these teams.
LeBron is not as good as Jordan, but
so you can't even compare him. Maybe Jordan. Just like I said in previous conversations.
I can expound on that.
Okay.
Jordan is the greatest player of all time. Period.
I agree with you about that.
LeBron is better.
I still think Mike is the best player of all time, because Mike just changed the whole game.
Well, then what are we talking about then? What are we talking about?
LeBron is better.
All right. Breezy, can I just, for 5 seconds, just one last thing, because I know we're getting close to time here too. But when we talk about all-time greatest, I think this should be a whole different conversation as opposed to just LeBron and MJ, because everybody be forgetting about Kareem. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Kobe as well, but you know.
Let me tease this.
Let's let Brian go. Let's let Brian go, y'all.
Let me tease this. Magic is still my first pick overall if I'm starting an all-time team. Well, LBJ might be 1, but Magic will be 2 before Mike.
Go ahead,
Now,
B.
Before Brian goes, we also have favorites versus better versus greater, you know, all that. So go ahead, B.
Correct. And the reason I think Reezy is saying that is because LeBron James is quite possibly the smartest, the strongest, makes, you know, the right play dang near 100% of the time. And he's a complete basketball player, meaning 1 through 5. Like, we have never seen with Magic, really, someone to just go 1 through 5 with ease. Now, I will say this: people forget about Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson was LeBron before LeBron.
No, hell no.
Grandmama.
I'm gonna rein it in. He just did not handle the ball enough, and he tried to be that 2, 3, 4 when he would have been better off trying to be a point forward. But regardless of all that, LeBron James plays 1 through 5 and has the mind of a coach.
Yes.
Michael Jordan was a straight up 2 and a dog at defender and would try to rip your heart out. It's 2 totally different players, but as far as all-time complete basketball player, the only person that comes close to LeBron James is Magic Johnson. I'm sorry.
Fellas, I think you've educated the masses. Even that argument that you all have, the good but not better, you know, piece, or greater but not better piece, is something that I haven't heard many people chat about. So we're gonna put that into the ether and have people chewing that. You all have provided pretty dope arguments for all of these things, and now as we close the show, you know, there's game 2 on Sunday of the Cavs series, the Cavs Warriors. Is it like, all right, Warriors are going to win no matter what, or do any of you pick the Cavs to win? So
Can I go first this time?
Yeah, go ahead. You're just picking who you think is going to win.
Dog, I need 10 seconds. Dog, you know the guys back in the day when they slow walking somebody to death for their death? This is just a slow walk to the Cavs' death. They might win the game, but no, it's a slow walk. That's all. It's just a matter of time before Golden State take this thing. But for game 2, I'm going to pick the Cavs for game 2. But remember, it's a slow walk to their death. So
you're invoking a little Pusha T, surgical summer for the Warriors, right?
That's all it is.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's go. Scott B, Don Reezy. Which one? Shigglesworth. Who do you guys got?
Scott got it.
Based on what I saw at game 1, if the Cavaliers show up in game 2, we're going to have a series. But I think mentally, I think the Cavs might be spent. So I've got Golden State winning game 2. But if Cleveland comes out and wins it, I think you're going to have a 6 or 7 game series.
Wow. Yo, Golden State by 25 or 30.
I think so too.
I'm going to tell you why. LeBron's going to come out. He's going to come out, try to get his teammates involved. J.R. Smith is going to shoot that team out the gym.
He's just going to be chucking.
He is jacking on Sunday. I would not want to be on the Cavs on Sunday.
Hell no. I agree.
Ty Lue ain't taking him out.
You don't pick the Cavs.
Reezy, who you got?
The craziest thing is that it should be a blowout. It should be Warriors. They should correct themselves. It shouldn't even be close. But something tells me that LeBron is going to even surpass this performance. And then, he's seriously going to put up a 45-point triple-double, 50-point triple-double. And I think they run away with it. I think it's a double-digit win for the Cavs.
Ooh. Well,
and they're going to be down in the first half.
Hey, I appreciate you all today. You're all fathers. You're gentlemen. You're scholars. It's good. We'll see you next week. I mean, this is how was it for you fellas?
Solid.
Yeah, let's rule. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I think y'all are.
With the football season.
Oh, bro. Well, you know, coming up next week, later on this summer, we're gonna be debating what's the better league, football, NFL, or NBA. And I would love to hear what you all thought about that.
And we gotta get into the social issues too, bro. Because
say that again.
We gotta get into the social issues because NBA is far surpassed the NFL when it comes to that.
Those things we gotta discuss, fellas. Hey, love you guys. last call. We're out. You know, y'all have a blessed weekend and be safe out there.
Yes, sir.
Much love.
All right, deuces.